last night I got the chance to talk to LCS Commissioner Markz about LCS roadshows. You're about to watch that now, but I do want to disclose beforehand, there is breaking news regarding international tournaments within League of Legends. We're going to talk about that after the clip is done. I'll have it timestamped down below if you have already seen the Hotline League portion. But his answer actually does play a part in the news that broke today. So we'll go over it after it's done.
David is here. David, where are you calling from?
Calling from Jersey City, New Jersey. How you doing?
Good, good. What do you want to talk about on the show? I know you had a list of 4 takes that you put on Twitter very dramatically, so I'm wondering which ones you have narrowed down to.
I was specifically asked to have one, and that is, what's the internal sentiment around the LCS Spring Finals in studio for 2025, or will we see a return to road shows and no longer see any finals in studio?
No longer see any finals in studio?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't ever want to see it in studio ever again.
Well, okay. I see what you mean. Sorry,
You had it inverted in your mind.
Yeah. Well, part of this I can say is 2025 planning, which starts now, but we don't have anything to share about 2025 spring currently. So I think if the never see it again, I can't commit to that or say that that's even the current trajectory. But good to know that's where you're at. Current thinking on how it went. I think it's a question of, well, I think the event could have been better. I think there's things that we could have executed on better to make it, especially for fans at the venue. Maybe some things we can do in the future. I think for online fans, it was hopefully decent with like the opening ceremony and these sorts of things. I think we had some sentiment data from the fans who attended. It was positive. We have like surveys out and stuff like that. Very much so, at least. And so I think I understand where fans are coming from, where it's what they expected after years and years and years and years of every regional finals being in a venue. But unfortunately, it's one of the things that, with a lot of the changes that happened in spring, to try and reach sustainability and those sorts of things, was one of the changes that was made.
Like,
and that.
Can I just follow up on
Sorry,
that specific point? It's something that Travis called out, and it's something I think the majority of the community said as well. Is like, I get sentiment around like the finals itself in the studio may have been good because like the show itself could be fine, but like I know you're not going to be able to speak to budgetary concerns. That's not something you can speak about publicly. But we have not seen finals even go to like 1,000-person theater. So like when you talk about expectations of the past, I don't think anybody's expecting, the Houston Texans stadium anymore. Like there's a general understanding that we're not at that point anymore. But why can't we have even smaller things?
So I think I would say there's a question of, if you have X amount to play with, is it better to blow it out and make the one thing you're going to do baller, and the other one, it is what it is, and you can mitigate it a little bit by, like, I think what you and Travis often suggest is like, keep it in LA and put it in a 500,000 person venue, and use what you could have spent on opening acts on just like the venue cost or something. Like, if you were going to take exactly the same budget and try and translate it over, you'd have to trim some of the things we did for spring here by keeping it in-house. So you would see even a more scaled down thing to put in that venue. Maybe for some fans that's the right call, maybe for others it's not. If it's like, all right, there's no fan fest and there's nothing to do, and you just show up and you watch the games and you go home, like, is that really better for those fans? Maybe it's better for online. You start getting into these kinds of conversations, and I don't know, to be honest. It's something that probably will be discussed in 2025 planning, but I would not say definitively one way or the other. Again, like, some of this also depends on like how you budget things and what you plan on doing. I think it's possible to do it in, like, this is me speaking personally, not like as product here. Like, I think you can do it. I don't know, speaking as product, if that's actually better for everyone, because to the point of like, okay, let's see, again, you have a certain amount of money to play with. Maybe fans do not care about an opening ceremony or some of the things that you usually spend your money on to make the thing hype. Lasers, light show, pre-planning special graphics packages, devoting time and resources into building that. And you're like, nah, what actually matters is just a fucking bigger theater. Maybe that's what we like fans actually only care about. But maybe you do that then, and the show feels really empty and hollow because you didn't fill it with like this hype content because you spent your budget. Because at the end of the day, you're playing with the same pool of money in this theory, right? And to be honest, I don't know if that would make fans more upset to go somewhere and have it feel potentially hollow versus like, yeah, it was in a theater, but at least they did some cool stuff and tried to deliver the hype there. It's a to me at least an open question.
All right. Well, hey, David, anything you want to shout out here at the end?
No, just shout out to the New York City League of Legends scene that we got going on here. I really hope that at some point the LCS does a watch party affiliate program that partners with various different locations. We would love to work with the league itself to help give fans a place to watch beyond just YouTube and Twitch. Not sure if your head of household viewership would capture that number or not, but it's a great way to watch it. So shout out to anybody that ever watches League of Legends in person. Mark's not going to be able to talk about the LCS budget. That will never be public information. So understandably, he kind of had to dodge there a little bit whenever it came to, can it never happen? Well, he can't say never because if budgets are small enough, he might not have a choice. The important part was that there was the establishment that he would like to not, and he later addressed that he would like to really avoid Easter if at all possible. It just was an unfortunate set of circumstances for this past split. But the breaking news today is that we got confirmation from the Sheep Esports that an announcement is coming in June, that statement coming directly from Riot in response to this article, that a third international League of Legends tournament is going to be happening next year, likely when the winter split that currently exists within the LEC would be wrapping up. So like before MSI would get pushed a little bit further, and then you still have Worlds at the end of the year, which means that likely every region is going to be going to 3 splits. For LCK and LPL, I have no clue how they're going to make that work. For the LCS, single round robin best of 3s into playoffs is already condensed enough. They can make that work with that as long as there's like no break weeks. But the reason why this is important to the conversation around road shows is that you now have likely the same budget for the entire year of FY25, which financial planning is going on right now, but you now have an additional split that you have to worry about, which likely means we are not going to be seeing a road show in either winter or spring under the assumption that we go with 3 splits pending the Riot Global announcement. It hurts to hear, and that's why at the end of the call, I made sure to add in the portion about watch party affiliate programs, because I really do think that's going to be a way forward, assuming that the LCS can't get out of the studio to even like 1,000-person venue or something like that that's in like the LA area. But they got to work on regional fandom growth. Like you have to. And the truth is when you lose road shows, you lose a large portion of that unless you have outreach programs in other different areas that can have watch parties at various bars or maybe rent out a movie theater or do things like that. But the truth is, while I'm organizing that, there's no other consistent efforts being done elsewhere. And if I had Riot resources, by all means, I could do a lot more than I'm freaking doing right now. But that's not where we're at. I did exchange messages with Markz before my watch party this past spring split, but nothing unfortunately ever came of it. So I would just implore them, like, if we know that resources are going to be stretched thin because you're going to 3 splits and roadshows are likely not going to happen until summer, you need to find other ways to develop regional fandom. And that comes through direct support with the league itself. In terms of the content plans for the rest of the week, you're going to have one more video on Friday this week, which will be my MSI preview featuring Mazel, who is an LPL caster. He casted the LPL finals on the English channel. He's going to be coming on to talk about the teams in the region and what we can hopefully do to beat them. Monday, I'm going to have a hype video, and then it is just no holds bars, just waiting until LCS plays, and then reactionary content in terms of breaking down the games, breaking down the series, and giving some in-depth analysis, not necessarily of the games, but like of the storylines of the day of MSI and how North America is progressing at World. So if you are looking forward to MSI content, be sure to subscribe down below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, on TikTok, and everywhere else that you might get my information that's a little bit more up to date than just YouTube videos, and I'll catch you around.